Good morning, everyone. I'm the Nature Guy, and this morning I'm coming to you not from Camp Sagola, but from beautiful Camp Sagola up in the western Upper Peninsula. This is their lodge behind me, and the trees right now are absolutely gorgeous. This lodge is situated right looking out over the lake. This is Lake Mitchell, and it's a beautiful spot. And we're up here this week teaching an outdoor ed class to the schools in the Upper Peninsula. But this morning, I want to talk to you about some of the carnivores that live in Michigan. Now, what's a carnivore? Well, that's the kind of animal that eats other animals. Okay, they've got large canine teeth in the front, and they're meat eaters. Some of them also eat other things, like a coyote will eat meat, but it'll also eat some berries and so forth. So some are omnivores, but many of them are truly meat eaters, the carnivores. Now in lower Michigan, we have some carnivores. One of those is the bobcat, and I've got the skull of a bobcat here. You can see my hand for approximate size. You can see those front teeth that they use for catching and eating the animals. But they're not very big, just a couple feet tall. Nothing really to be too worried about. But in the Upper Peninsula, they've got some big ones. They don't have bobcats, but they do have lynx, which are a little bigger, maybe standing 3 foot tall. But they also have mountain lions or cougars. And they also have the very large teeth, but they are much bigger than what we have in the Lower Peninsula. So bobcat and mountain lion, you can see the size difference. Now you might say, mountain lions in Michigan? Well, it turns out that usually young males, when they grow big enough that they leave their mom, out in the Rockies in the mountains, they travel long distances to try to find their own home ranges. And some of them come down out of the mountains and head east. Some head north and south and so forth, but those that head east have a hard time finding mountains. And so they'll travel all the way across the prairies, and then they kind of hit the Great Lakes. Now, if you go south around the Great Lakes, you're going to run into Chicago and all that industry and lots of people and roads. Not very many make it that way, but a few do, and they land up over in Ohio, and finally they find some mountains in Pennsylvania. And so there are a few cougars that survive out there. But if you hit the Great Lakes and you choose to go on the north side of the lakes to avoid Chicago and all the traffic, you land up in the Upper Peninsula. And as you head across the Upper Peninsula, of course, you run into problems. You're surrounded by the Great Lakes, and they don't allow mountain lions across the Mackinac Bridge, so the mountain lions are stuck in the UP. Now, of course, there's elk, and there's moose, and there's deer, so there's lots for them to eat. And right now, the Upper Peninsula has the highest concentration of mountain lions anywhere east of the Rocky Mountains, which is really kind of cool. And in fact, some staff have seen mountain lions in the open area just across the lake here from the lodge. So that's really cool. Now, the other carnivore that's around is the coyote. Whoop, coyote's opening his mouth. He must be hungry. This is a coyote skull. And you can see it also has the large teeth, but it has a longer snout like a dog compared to a cat. That's the coyote that we have in the Lower Peninsula. But in the Upper Peninsula, they have timber wolves. And you can see the size difference. These are much bigger animals. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not sure if I saw a coyote or a wolf, but when you really see the size difference, you can know that you've seen a wolf. And it's not uncommon to hear timber wolves howling at night here at Camp Sagola. So this is a really great place, and it illustrates some of the carnivores, some of the cool carnivores that exist in Upper Michigan. So why do I tell you this story about, big and small carnivores? Well, this kind of reminds me about the situation with us and God. We understand from the Bible that God acts like a father. And sometimes what we maybe think in our minds is that, God's kind of sort of human-sized somehow. We don't give him credit for how much bigger and how much more powerful he is compared to us. We as humans, even though we are created in his image, we are much smaller than he is. Our God is huge. He made this whole place. He holds the whole universe in his hand. That's a huge God. And in this day and age where we have so many problems we hear about in the news, or people are sick, and all the unrest and all the politics and the mess around us, it's really encouraging to know that we've got a God that's so much bigger than anything we have ever imagined. What a cool God we serve. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.